Hey guys, it says we are streaming live on YouTube, so I hope that this whole thing is actually going to YouTube where it should. My name is Kurt Von Annen. I'm the host of the Mañana morning check-in, and here we are. It is Monday, March 1st, 2021. Let me double check and make, there we go, and got that sound turned off so there's no echo for you. And I just wanted to jump on. I'm actually a couple minutes early today, but I was clearing out my email, right? So everybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, an executive, you could be shining shoes in an airport. It doesn't matter to me what you're doing, but chances are we've all got this thing where we're clearing out our notifications. And as I was clearing out my notifications today, I must have had 10 emails in there that started out with, in these stressful times, in these times of challenge, in these, and it went, and it's all about, this whole last year. We got to get over this. We just gotta, we just gotta, man up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We folks, this is it. It's not going to get less stressful. This reminds me of when I used to teach people at Ducati how to diagnose and troubleshoot motorcycles, right, with electrical concerns. I would ask them straight out. I would say, do you think motorcycles are going to get more or less complicated as time goes on? And of course, everybody would say, oh, no, they're going to get more complicated. Okay, so do you think diagnostics is going to get easier or more involved as time goes on? And a lot of people think, oh, you just plug it in, it tells you what's wrong. No, you plug it in and it gives you a breadcrumb. It gives you a hint. It gives you a clue as to what might be wrong. These diagnostic tools that your automotive specialists are using, right? Or the fix it, right? You plug into your car and fix it yourself. They will generally say, well, this is the fault code, right? And then someone will say, oh, well, that's an oxygen sensor, or that's a throttle positioning sensor, or that's a mass airflow sensor, or whatever, right? But here's the deal. A lot of the times it ain't. It's a bad ground. It's a bad connection. It's not communicating properly. It's out of synchronization. It needs to be reflashed. And then people end up throwing parts, at their vehicles trying to magically fix them. And they don't get fixed. Or the exchange of the new part actually repairs the poor connection. And you end up throwing away a perfectly good part that you didn't even need. I think about in these trying times, right? So when someone starts out an email like this, in these trying times, they're trying to play on your emotion, your lack of faith, your lack of hope. And that to me is a very dangerous message. The message that went out today on the Mañana daily, I guess we would call it the newsletter message, right? But it goes out in your daily. I try to get something out every weekday. And it was basically almost like a top 10 list, right? It was like, hey, we're launching into March. It's the start of a new month. Let's take a look at some of the content that we put out, over the last 2 months, right? Let's take a look at some of the content we put out since New Year's and see what kind of positive messages we've been able to put forth. And this is a big thing for me with Mañana No Mas. I want to make sure we stay positive. I want to make sure we look for opportunities in the midst of obstacles. And if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know that I am consistent in this messaging, right? Dave Gamble says, build your email list, build your email list, build your email list, right? Mine's like, we got to find opportunity within the obstacle. And so dwelling on these trying times drives me insane. So many emails came through to me over the weekend that was like, hey, let our consultants tell you how to safely open your business, as the pandemic begins to loosen up. Well, here's an idea. Open your business. I'm in California, and I live in a county within California where the sheriff has jumped on TV and said, he's pretty famous for it. We're not going to enforce these draconian laws. We think this is stupid, right? And right to it. If we actually followed the science, there would be no lockdown. Sick people would stay at home and healthy people would go to work and schools would be open. And this masking thing wouldn't be a thing. Here I am wearing a mask in the grocery store over the weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I actually wearing a mask in the grocery store? I'm healthy. presumably these people are healthy, right? But this herd immunity that they promised us, and especially with all this, vaccination going on that doesn't provide immunity and has a 3 to 5% chance of causing a side effect. Uh, all of this stuff is going on. The CDC is releasing new material almost daily on their website that is downplaying the harm that the virus would actually do. And so it's frustrating to me that I can read the CDC website, I can see what WHO is publishing, the World Health Organization, and I can see what our lawmakers are trying to push through. And it's simple to me. I'm like, what are we doing? When is somebody going to finally call out the nonsense for what it is and just open, you know? So representing other companies, sometimes you got to be super careful about how you say things, what you say, things like that. Like, so if I am representing a company at a retail establishment and I go in and the rules are, wear a mask, speak this way, do this, I do that. I follow the rules because it's part of what I agreed to do the task, right? But now here I am live on YouTube, representing Kurt Von Annen, right? My own personal brand. And I'm in shock. I'm reading these emails coming through, and people are just making bank off of this. How to safely open your business, post pandemic. People are going to pay for that. Like, that's bizarre to me, right? Well, how has Home Depot safely reopened in the pandemic, right? How has Lowe's reopened? How has Target, Walmart? How have all these places opened safely during the pandemic? When I go to the grocery store is packed full of people and everybody's touching all the fruit. You know what I mean? And they're still selling fruit. Um, it's so weird. Last week, I took Rainey to the hospital. My daughter, she twisted her ankle. She sprained it pretty good. We went and got x-rays. Folks, that place was empty. So we went to the emergency room. We went to urgent care, and it was empty. The staff was so happy to see us. We were treated so well. I was wheeling my daughter around in a wheelchair in an empty hospital. It was freakish, almost like a horror movie, right? Like, what zombie is going to come out of what closed room, right? Because there was no activity going on except for them taking care of her and getting her ankle x-rayed. And I was blown away. I'm like, our governor's on TV talking about how overrun the hospitals are, and this place is empty, right? And now some know-it-all is going to jump on here and he's going to tell me, oh no, that's because you were in this part of the hospital, and this other part of the hospital, which is also empty, is designated as a COVID relief area, and this part's designated as a trauma center, and this and each one has to have so many open beds in order to qualify for this, that, and the other thing. Here's the deal: the hospital was empty. Right? The parking lot was near empty. Security guards pedaling around on his bicycle, rounding up wheelchairs, and there's nothing going on at the hospital. It was the strangest experience because I went with books and a computer and everything. I thought I was going to be there for hours, and instead we were there for about 40 minutes. We were entered in. We had a preliminary exam. We had X-rays reviewed, paperwork done, and gone in like 40 to 45 minutes. I could not believe how great the visit was, actually. And like I said, the staff was thrilled to have us come in, and they were super fun, and it was a good time. And I hate to say it was a good time with my daughter's sprained ankle, but it was a good time with my daughter's sprained ankle. So here we are. I'm jumping out into 2021 second quarter, right? Because we are going to finish up the first quarter here this month. And I'm already thinking, what's the second quarter going to look like? And if you run your own business, I hope you're thinking the same thing. I hope you're thinking, man, the first quarter is 2/3 done. I got to finish March strong. And how am I going to jump out in April? April 1st for a lot of us is going to be an anniversary of the lockdown and these trying times. And what are we going to do, after we take a couple of weeks off to flatten the curve, after we take a month off to flatten the curve, after we take a year off to flatten the curve? So I want you guys to think, where was the opportunity that you found within the obstacle? How did you get through 2020 and into 2021 and still have some semblance of success? A lot of the businesses that I consult with actually went up in value, right? They went up in value, they went up in volume, they went up in profits. You know, you start taking a look at some of the people I consult with. I've had a couple people report that they have doubled their sales. Right now, remember, I'm in the service industry, right? So when I'm consulting with a power sports dealer and they increase their parts and labor sales, think about the conditions, right? Movie theaters were closed, museums were closed, you know, schools were shut down. And so a lot of people said, hey, I got to get my kids out. I got to get them doing something, right? So it could have been an electric mountain bike, a regular mountain bike, you know, a dirt bike. Go to your store right now and try and buy yourself a new Kawasaki kids dirt bike, or a new Suzuki or Honda. You know, walk in and go, hey, I'd like to buy an 80 or a 100 or a 125, and see how many of them aren't there. That's because everyone else had the same idea, right? We got to get people active. We got to get people doing things. And so you'll see I'm pushing a lot with fitness. I'm pushing a lot with the bicycling. I'm pushing a lot with outdoor activities, you know, the UTVs, the dirt bikes, the quads, things like that, you know, really getting out and enjoying yourself. Find the opportunity within the obstacle. And so as we get ready to kick off the second quarter of 2021 here in 30 days, you know, I'd really like to start pushing this message forward. So you're going to see as I push this message, I'm going to come out with another date for the Power Sports Academy, right? So the Power Sports Academy is going to launch a coupon that's going to entice power sports dealers to sign up to train their people. I've been talking about this for a year. And now, after doing multiple dealer visits in multiple states in the United States, it's really come to my attention that we've got to get back to basics. We've got to do some formal communications training with service writers and service managers. We've got to do some process training, right? The proper way to write a repair order and, you know, legally take things through the steps of a repair order. And then we've got to work on different efficiencies within the shop to raise our profit margins. I've seen a lot of people working harder, but not working smarter, right? And the problem is that you begin to just keep pushing and grinding, pushing and grinding and pushing and grinding, but you don't feel like you're getting ahead, right? It's almost like the more you sell, the more you break even. And that's not what this is about. I'm not here to teach you how to break even and keep the lights on. I want to teach you how to succeed, how to more than break even, right? I want to raise your profits and your margins. So jump into the Power Sports Academy. I am going to be launching an offer this month to get people closed out on the first quarter of this year. I'll probably get that up today. So if you have not yet been to the Power Sport Academy and you're in power sports, you need to go to the Power Sport Academy today or tomorrow and see what deal I'm putting in there for you guys. The next thing is the Power Sport Roundtable. We launched the Power Sport Roundtable in December of 2020. It was a 5-hour single day event. 5 different experts. Boom. If you guys were there, you remember, right? We had a sales expert, a social media expert, a BDC expert, right? You had me in service. You had a leadership expert, right? And all of these people donated their time and put together a premier 5 hours of training for power sports dealer ownership. And it was amazing. And the feedback was really, really good. So why don't we do another one? We're going to do another one, right? So powersportroundtable.com is going to have some announcements coming up on that. You want to make sure you get signed up on that, right? So go to powersportroundtable.com, sign up, right? Get on the thing. So that way, when we make an announcement about the upcoming date, you don't miss it, right? Plus, I'm going to have some activity going on here. Right. So we got the Power Sports Academy and the Power Sport Roundtable. That takes care of my power sports people. Now for my general business people, remember, I'm a business consultant. I'm not just a power sports guy. Right. So I try to really communicate this. I'm a business consultant first. And while I have some specialties, I also have a ton of tools that I use in my consultancy to help people build their confidence, their leadership, and their sales and their margins, right? So one of those things is called the Challenge Connection. Now, the Challenge Connection is fairly new. I bragged about it for months on these messages that I was putting out a new product, and that new product is now released. So here's what we're going to do to formally launch the Challenge Connection. I'm going to launch a challenge. It's going to be a 10-day challenge, and I'm going to look for 10 select individuals, preferably business owners, that want to get involved in what an online challenge looks like. So here's the deal. It's going to be a 10-day challenge. This 10-day challenge is going to provide you with all of the files and all of the graphics and everything you need to make your own challenge. And then my 10-day challenge is going to walk you through the process of building a 5-day challenge. And I'm giving you the subject matter and everything. So the 5-day challenge that you build is going to allow you to take a fitness message to your audience. And this will be a great example for you to try to run a challenge and grow an audience. If you can grow community through the challenge architecture, then think about what you can do post sample challenge. You know, if you have a challenge in fitness, great. If you have a challenge in cooking, great. If you have a challenge in art, great. If you have a challenge in leadership and coaching, fantastic. If you have a business that deals with power sports, we'll build you a challenge for that and help you build your audience. The thing is building your community, right? We need to find ways to build community around the things which we are passionate about. And then once we have the community established, we can pepper in challenges, newsletters, events, all kinds of things. And folks, I know that I sound like I'm full of hot air sometimes when I'm like, in these challenging times, and as the pandemic loosens up, how will you reopen your business? Please disregard these emails that are coming to you with that type of messaging. Focus on the positive, focus on opportunity, focus on moving forward, right? The CDC themselves just put out material that says this thing is, as toxic as the flu. Okay. Look at the numbers, read the reports, look at what's going on. This fear thing that I'm seeing, like when I walk through the store, when I go, I'm mountain biking in God's creation. I'm out there on the trail, pedaling my little heart out, sweating and panting like a freak. And I come up the trail and I see a jogger coming down who's maskless, right? He's wearing the little thing. He's wearing the, what do they call it? The gaiter. He's wearing the gaiter around his neck, right? And he comes trotting down the trail and he looks up and he sees me, and pure panic in their eyes, and they yank the mask up. Now, are they afraid of catching the virus as I pedal by them on a trail? I don't think so. I think they're more panicked that I might yell at them for not wearing their mask while they're jogging. I think that's really what's been driving things, is everybody's afraid of what someone else is going to think. We need to get over it. You know what? When I go into a closed environment, when I go into a restaurant, I wear it in, I sit down, I take the mask off. What's the difference between standing at the door and sitting in my booth? There is no difference between standing in the door and sitting at my booth. I'm just following the norms of society as they've been established over the last year. And I'm almost starting to think, shame on me. Folks, don't let the email spam and the news and all the other stuff drive a sense of fear about how you engage with your own business. Find the opportunity within the obstacles and let's move forward. That was a little more somber of a message than I usually do, but it's Monday and I just want to kick you in the ass. I just want to go for it. So I've got a ton of work to do here. Obviously, as I just announced to you guys, I've got changes to the Power Sport Roundtable, changes to the Power Sport Academy, and development on the Challenge Connection that I'm going to be knocking out. Okay. If you're a motorcycle dealer owner and you and I have not yet personally spoken, I'm going to encourage you to give me a call or send me a message through the Mañana No Mas or the Power Sport Academy websites. All right, folks, have a blessed day. Go out and kill it. Go get you